don't forget to
Make
get your
beautiful-
education
Yeah.
and
Whatever James
brush
says.
your fundamentals. Brush your teeth.
Don't forget, brushing your teeth and practicing the fundamentals are the same thing. You have to do it every day, and you gotta floss.
Yes, and if not, you will get gum disease and die.
That's right.
Hi guys, welcome back. I hope you're having a lovely day today. Today we're going to talk about shooting. First of all, Will, how are you today?
I'm pretty good. It's a little rainy. It's a little bit cold.
Yeah, very gloomy today.
But it's all right.
In
it's all right.
G Vegas.
G Vegas is it's not rolling hard today.
Yeah, not rolling hard. Not rolling hard. We are the G Vegas of the East Coast, aka Greenville, South Carolina. Represent. Today we're gonna talk about shooting details. I believe we've spoken about this before, to some extent.
To some extent, somewhere in there.
Today we're gonna have my, my wife is crawling. Okay, got the ear.
All
Hey,
right.
Christina, is this a recording?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh no, we're back.
Oh boy. Okay, keeping the child under control. So today we're gonna talk a little bit about shooting details, and we're gonna look over some photos. It's gonna be an exciting experience.
Oh my
of
gosh.
Joy and happiness.
Photos, colors,
Lots.
pixels.
Pixelations, bokeh, in focus things, out of focus things,
bokeh balls.
kids who climb on rocks. So we're just gonna jump in. I mean, let's talk about this stuff and learn about what can be improved about our shooting, how we can improve, how other people can learn, take value from the things we're talking about on this lovely day. The first one, this is the only one that me or you did not shoot, actually, is this is a shot by the Optimist. Well, I say by. You can never really trust Tumblr.
Yeah.
It could be.
It could be.
The point is,
it could be 8,000 people down the line.
right, and
Literally.
the point is that we're gonna put a link below so that you can get there and find. So that there's at least credit there. I made my own latte. So this is via the Optimist Hoper Dreamer. So that's good. It's a pretty standard Tumblr name, I feel like. And I love the way that this was shot and the details and the colors and everything. What do you think it is about this photo that makes it work? What makes it interesting?
I mean, I think the first thing
Go!
is is the angle. I mean,
Yes.
like you weren't way up here, you weren't way up
Shooting
here.
down.
You didn't get too low.
Right.
Like they got right on the same plane as them. And I mean, sometimes you need to get lower, higher, but like I think like we were talking about earlier is like agility. Like you have to move around. You can't just shoot your portrait and then shoot your detail. Like shoot everything from the same spot and from the same angle because
like a sense of limberness.
right, like
Right, being very.
yeah, you gotta get
lay
here
it
and there,
down,
and you
you're
gotta
like-
figure out, what works compositionally because it's a little bit more awkward. It's not like
Yeah.
a portrait where like you have like several basic options, right? Like you have like headshot, two like shoulders, waist, thigh, whole body, right? Like
Right.
it's more kind of where do you end up, and I think a lot of detail shots end up being a little wonky because people don't pay enough attention to what they are not chopping off from a
True.
picture, because I think some things can distract and other things can add, but you got to kind of provide some sort of level of context.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of a person, a type of person that exhibits the limberness I'm talking about. Like the sense of just like all over, I'm like immediately where I need to be at the right time. Taxi driver. No, I like it. The first thing I think of is a samurai, like a Navy SEAL.
Like a Navy SEAL
why does go
samurai.
together?
Cross-cultural
Why does
references.
go
All right.
together? Samurai, he's got to go low because there's a sword that's going to chop off his head. He's got to get low.
I think it's like being somewhat
Really low.
instinctual about
Yes.
the framing. Like, but then, it's being instinctual, but then also
Gumby.
Yeah,
Gumby,
he can
because
get
he's
anywhere.
he's all
he
over
has
the place.
no bones,
Yeah.
no joints. It's just everything's just wiggling.
Right.
moving everywhere.
That's I want you to be the Gumby of street photography. That's what.
Yeah, but no, I mean, I think that the reference kind of can cross across a lot of planes too, and maybe that's another video. Maybe it's like unusual angles in street photography. right?
Yes.
Like maybe we could do a whole video on people who've shot scenes.
10 video series.
Yeah.
30 minutes each.
Because I mean, I think like there's even people who would use like the Rolleiflex cameras, and like everything would have a very different feel just from that shift of angle.
Yeah.
So I think like for me, the angle is probably the most important thing, because everything else doesn't matter if you just are like, let me take a picture of your shoes, and you just point down and shoot.
Yeah. It's interesting because it's so easy to take this same shot and make it something completely different, something that doesn't have this aesthetic, if you're less experienced, or even if you just have a different kind of eye. Not
Yeah.
even in a bad way.
No.
But the fact, like, this person was probably a really interesting looking person overall, right? Like, I can imagine that this entire person was very aesthetically interesting.
Or what if it was just this amount of
It could have
person?
been.
Like,
The top
it was a
half.
crime scene. Everything else was just gone.
So there's just a torso?
Yeah.
Okay. That got morbid.
But I mean, that's like, right, you're leaving, what you leave out is equally as important.
Well, yeah, and what I'm saying is I think it's interesting that the photographer decided to focus in on this one part.
Yes.
And it shows this interesting selectivity that you should try to have as a photographer of, okay, I know this is interesting, but how can I make this how can I push it, make it an even more unique photo?
Yeah.
Right?
No, I completely agree. Yeah, I mean, it shows their eye more. I mean, I think like when you shoot a huge frame, it doesn't show as much of like what drew you to the person or why you took this photo. The more, the closer you can get, a lot of times the more the viewer understands what your focus was and what your purpose was. Also, I like that little bit of blue. That's really nice.
The blue's nice.
Like the little bit of blue
didn't
with the
even see
complementary with the orange. Like, I think it just adds like, it's not distracting, but it's just enough. It's just like that little, it's that little like icing on top of the cake
Yes.
where, it's like
Little
that
blue
one
streak.
little element makes a photo go from like, you're pretty happy with it to you're really happy with it.
Right. And that's a fun thing to talk about. That's a fun dynamic to talk about. What takes a photo from something that you just, it's like you feel good, you're like, hey, this photo didn't suck, great, to this is like, I want to put this on my portfolio page. Like, this is something I'm truly proud of as a photographer.
Man, there's a lot that goes into those
Yeah.
too. I mean, that's
A lot of serendipity, I feel like.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you could have the same photo 8,000 times and like maybe 4 of them are what you really, but it's like almost the exact same interaction every time.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't know if you recognize.
Oh my
this
gosh,
photo.
who took that terrible photo?
It's just
That's just
it makes me
nothing
want to vomit.
good you can say about that.
It makes me wanna
I
vomit.
don't know what to say. It's just terrible.
This is a photo by our own Will here.
That's me, by the way.
Very talk about serendipity. Like, freaking coming across this is not something that happens every day.
Yeah, I didn't even notice it at first.
Yeah.
I completely.
Yeah, so I need you to tell me about this photo. That was the first thing I was going to ask
Yeah,
you. Tell me about how this interaction went.
I mean, I saw this girl and she was standing on a corner, and it was more her posture, which is interesting because this ended up being the most interesting shot. But it was more the way she was kind of standing. I mean, she was dressed pretty well, but like sometimes people, and she also had very interesting makeup. Like, it's weird. All these other elements, like her posture and her face and all this stuff, like, or what drew me in. But then this ended up really being the best photograph I ended up with. Which is kind of a unique experience. A lot of times I think we kind of see what we want. And I think that's the important thing too, is like not just to take that like head and shoulders portrait if you think, but like look at them, really look at them. Like decide what you like. And then suddenly I just kind of looked down and she had all these rings, and honestly I got a little lucky because I was like, I really like your rings, and she just like held them out. I don't know if it was to show me them or what.
I love it when people do that.
I was like, wait, just stay there. And then we shot that frame like that. But I mean, it wasn't like she was posing for it, but it worked as a frame. There was like these very strong vertical elements anyways. And her hands are kind of framed almost completely within her pants, which I think adds a visual.
True.
And I mean, she had like the nails painted gold. I mean, there's just a lot of details. It was something where I didn't want a lot in the background. and what
The
she was
background's
wearing
very
helped.
Gray and
Right. It
and
just
dark.
kind of helps you focus in on those elements because there's a lot going on there. And I think
Right.
it's easy to miss little things, like even just her nails being painted the same color. And I
True.
kind of desaturated a good bit of the image too, which is rare for me. Usually I keep a good bit of color in my
You know,
photos.
it's funny. Talk about removing context. I actually assumed that was a guy. And I don't mean that in a mean way. Like,
No,
they're,
yeah.
they're very
Yeah.
lovely hands.
No, but yeah,
I
it's
actually
not-
assumed it was
yeah.
a dude. Like,
Yeah, it completely when it's like they have pants on and like a jacket.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean there's no, in their hands, I mean they're not like porcelainly, little, they don't look, yeah, that's really interesting. Yeah.
So, very nice. Okay, next one. This is a photo I took a while back. This is my favorite detail photo I think I've ever shot to this point because the story behind it was my favorite part. And we talked about this before, I think in the last detail video, that this was her mother's key. Her mother had died mysteriously. They didn't know why she died. They thought maybe it was a brain aneurysm. And in her jewelry box, that was her key. That was her mother's key. And so she wears it around her neck now. And I just happened to ask her about the key. I said, that's a very interesting key. Tell me about it. She told me the story. And I just got her to hold it out. And it was just a nice, simple shot that I think works because I cut off a lot of everything, right? Like I was like
Yes.
chopping off body parts and very tight.
Right.
And I don't know what all lends to this being a good photo. I just know that I think it turned out really well. I like the fact that she's kind of anonymous.
Yeah, no, I think
Almost.
when you get a story that good, I mean, it's even kind of like some of Honey's images, like the ones where people won't tell you who they are, or they just show you like a page of their journal or something.
Mm-hmm.
I think are interesting when someone has such a strong story because sometimes I think certain elements of a photo can almost detract from the story element, or like you kind of. When you can't put a story to the face, you make a face. Or maybe it's something that's happened to you or someone you know, and it kind of extends out that way.
Yeah, it's just human.
Yes.
It's just humanity.
Yeah.
Kinda.
And I mean, I think one important thing, too, though, is you didn't completely remove the context. Like, you didn't come in with just like
With a
Like,
wrecking
just
ball.
like-
a wrecking ball.
I came in like a wrecking ball. Your aperture is all
There
wrong.
you go. Freaking Frodo's photo
Yeah,
over here.
but I think, like, if you come in too tight, I think there's not enough. Like, if you shot like maybe a vertical of just like a bit of the hand and the
that
key,
might have been weird.
I think it's good to have a little bit more to the
Yeah.
frame, and I mean also I think it provides a better feeling of like it's a small detail that you notice, right? But I mean it's obviously the forefront of the image, but it's still not like just a picture of a key in a hand.
Yeah, and also
So I really like that to
I-
it. It's
right,
a little
right.
bit more subtle.
Well, I also think it's interesting that, like, your photo was very elegant, right? It had this sense of like interesting fashionness about it. This is very kind of like she's just holding it out. It's very simple,
Yeah.
you know.
I mean, what she's wearing simple, and the color palette
Yeah.
simple. Yeah, it's a very
like a normal person
It's a
going
very
about her day.
understated image visually.
Yeah, and like it would have been different if like even the key was like stroked across her hand, or
Yeah.
if it was something
It's not
that,
stylized.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, like I think a lot of people would have her like drape the necklace like out of her hand like this and
Right.
kind of hold it out, and I think that kind of changes it from a stylized image to where I feel like this is more of an emotive image that's part of a story.
yeah. And maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm like I'm just. It's funny. I'm just thinking about this now. I've never really thought about this photo this deeply, but I almost like how she's just almost kind of possessing the key, like
Yeah.
she's just holding it and like this is my key. I don't know. Anyway, that was that picture. Next, all right. This is another one that I shot recently. I wanted to talk about it because I think it illustrates the like when I shoot details. I like to get limber. I like to chop off body parts, like just create really strange framing. I like to use a whole bunch of negative space if necessary. This is an example of, I think, a lot of negative space. Because I was just walking behind this guy and I was trying to get the shot of his daughter's arms on his neck, or I assume that's his daughter. And I thought the best way to do that would be to chop off a lot of the bottom half and create interest by having a lot of negative space, and then right down at the bottom you have this like anchor of what's going on. It's almost surprising.
Yeah, and I think it really illustrates the fact that you don't have to work in close for detail shots. So I think a lot of
Right.
people get trapped, and I do this a good bit, is like we get trapped in the idea that like the detail's so important so we can't have anything else in the frame.
Yeah.
And this works really well because it's almost a shot that you wouldn't think of as a detail shot at first because of it being such a large frame. But then by putting so little of the person in the frame, it kind of transforms like what could be like a really tight head and shoulder shot,
Yeah.
you know, into this kind of contextual piece. Also, it's like from a strict like compositional standpoint, he has like an awesome framing element here of like this wall, leading line here, and then this like little Greenville sign helps fill that last void. And it's like it's not just a bunch of empty space. It kind of fills it in, which is nice because it's not like it's super clean. It's not like just like a white wall, right, or something
Right.
where it's like
Right.
obviously empty space and that works well itself. But like this, I think helps clean up the clutter by having a structural
clutter.
element. Cleaning
Yeah.
up that clutter. Be your own garbage man.
Sponsor. Clean up the clutter.
Sponsored by
Be
Glad.
your own. Yes. That's who we
Glad
need.
bags. They're super strong.
That's who we need. Okay. Oh, so side note, we are. I don't know how long the video has been right now, but my timer's telling me I have 3 minutes left.
Yeah,
So what
so-
we're gonna do? What we're gonna do is
do
I'm
a
just gonna
switch
be
and
like,
swap.
boom, we're gonna switch and swap. We can go through this one, and then I'll run over there, and there'll be magic editing, and I'll be a genie, and I'll make things happen in post. Cause I'm amazing.
Huzzah!
Huzzah! Okay, this photo is another example of kind of just strange framing. I wanted to focus in on her legs. This is my photo. I wanted to focus in on her legs and what she's got going on the bottom half. So I decided to get really weird about my framing and kind of shoot down a little bit. I've been really interested in shooting down on things a little more, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And a lot of I don't want to call it negatives, but almost leading lines.
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
what helps it is
The pattern of
it
the
would
squares.
it would feel a little awkward if all this concrete in the front was like smooth.
Yeah.
Like there
That's
wouldn't be anything to pull you into the frame visually. And since she kind of fills the frame in a unique way because it's like a long slender line that like ends kind of in the middle, but just kind of like it's not how your eyes would pull into the frame. So I think there's leading lines pull you into the boots, and then the leading lines continue through that crosswalk, and then bam, it like just leads you up that figure.
Right.
And even like the shape made in between her legs, like creates this very strong like arrow.
Oh.
Like it's just like whoosh, everything is just
noticed that.
yeah, and then it goes to that point.
It's like the leg of like
Yeah.
one of those Victorian tables.
Yes, and then it like leads in. It's like one of those pictures.
Freaking- I'm a
is it
freaking
person-
Mozart
Is it a person's
of
legs,
photography.
or is this actually a Renaissance table
Exactly.
leg? Yeah.
It's like one of those optical.
So I mean, I
illusions.
think that like that takes a picture where I think someone could frame it this way and feel very unhappy with their image
Ah.
visually, because I think this is a challenging framing concept.
True. That was a good end to that sentence. That felt very smooth because you know
Yeah.
what's about to happen.
I know it's about to happen.
Huzzah!
Huzzah! Hiya! Huzzah!
Sparks.
We need sparklers.
Christina, can you jump on the After Effects sparks around their heads? Go ahead and start working on that. We'll continue.
My name's not Christina.
Georgina.
Oh my gosh.
It's Georgina.
Where's my wife? Okay. So Will, you're gonna like this next one.
Okay.
I don't really know what we're gonna say about it. It may fail, but we're gonna see what we can pull out here.
Okay.
All right.
Oh
So-
man.
I just thought it was
Oh,
a nice,
man.
tight portrait. Details. I like how was his hat tilted up in that fashion?
I had him lift his head up more.
Okay.
He did have his hat kind of a little tilted up, but what I told him was lift his head and tilt his hat a little bit because I liked his Miley. And then that's what prompted him to do the face. So he wasn't going to do the face, but I was like, can you tilt your hat up so we can see, like, because that's super funny.
I
and
need to
he's
see
like,
your Miley.
yeah, and he's like, yeah, sure. And then he's like, do you want me to do the Miley face? And I was like, Okay. I mean,
Okay.
this was in San Francisco. Like, if you live somewhere not in the South, I feel like people are much more. I've never had anyone in Greenville be willing to do something
Yeah.
like this.
Yeah.
At all.
Well, it feels so. I don't know. The photo just feels so right.
It feels like you're with one of your friends. Like he's one
Yeah.
of your friends, and like you're just snap this casual. Like you just like pull your phone out, and like he's telling some sort of ridiculous story, just doing something ridiculous,
Right.
And you just snap a picture. Like it doesn't feel like it's a stranger on the street.
Yeah.
At
yeah,
all,
yeah.
which,
Well,
like-
yeah. You feel every bit of his character, and I love that the glasses, like they're just like these over like.
It's like the '80s, like huge '80s frames.
Yeah, these
Yeah, I mean, it's
completely
just-
like way too fat glasses.
It's not even
And-
hipster big glasses.
and
It's
not
like
even
another
hipster.
level.
It's
He's
a
on
whole
this is-
other
This
world.
is completely.
And then he has tigers on his jacket.
Yeah.
And, like this guy woke up with intentionality. He knew what he was doing.
He didn't
today.
even have a cell phone either.
Oh really?
He was like, "Hey," he's like, "How can I see this?" I'm like, "Do you have an Instagram?" He's like, "Nah." He's like, "I don't even have a cell phone." He's like,
Wow.
"Let me write down your address of your blog in a notepad."
Okay. Which was also Miley, right? Like a Miley notepad.
I'm not sure if I remember what his notepad was.
That's so funny, and I also love just the silliness of the fact that his tongue goes the opposite direction.
Yeah, I mean, it's like perfect.
of hers. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think too. This is where like bokeh is important.
Mm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
this is a time where, like, obviously you can tell from the colors behind it, but there's a lot going on
Yeah.
in the scene. I mean,
Yeah.
just a lot. And you know, that's where for my type of work, like using a longer lens and shooting at a like a 1.2 or 1.8 or 1.4 really makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Um,
I
'cause-
like the way that you it's a very interesting framing because you cut his shoulders off, and then you also kind of I guess complemented that by how kind of high your like how much space above his head there was. Like it just I don't know.
I like wanted to be closer, but I didn't want to lose the tigers at all. So like I kept wanting to come in closer and closer, and he did this, and like you're never sure how long someone's going to do something ridiculous,
Right.
So like it's not like that frame where you kind of set it up and you like walk through it a couple times. Like it was just a couple like 2 frames maybe of this,
Yeah.
and one was out of focus and this one was in focus.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
like, but I think like it was more of just an intuitive frame, and I like to work kind of in slightly unexpected vertical portraits. Like I enjoy vertical portraits as long as you can. I think they're challenging in the sense of like finding a framing that works that's not full body for vertical.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, that was a fun
Well
one.
done, Will.
That was a really fun one, and the details are cool.
Yes.
I mean, it's like double lions and a Miley.
Right. I mean, come on.
Come on, who can't like that on some level?
Where do you go from there? Okay, this next one. This has nothing to do with the topic. I just was wondering, who is this guy, and did you beat him up for getting in your frame?
Okay, so this was a really weird thing. This was when
I was assuming
the
it
Greenville
was. That's why I brought
News
this up.
was doing a story on me.
Okay.
So like, and they wanted to see me do what I do. So we were just walking around, and I was like, telling him like, "There's a good chance we won't see anyone, just to
Yeah.
warn you." And he's like, "Okay." And I was like, "So I have some backups if we really need them." But we ended up not needing one because we ran into this girl I know who dresses fantastically, obviously, and she's
Sure.
like 8 feet tall.
Okay. Good.
But this frame is like, honestly, it's not that great of a frame. There's that black line going through her head. But he was doing the photos, and I thought, well, why not post it with him? Because it's like, what's going on?
Right, oh, yeah, it's very
It's like
interesting.
what? Why? Like what?
well, and
could
you
this-
posted it with a story as well. You had a photo because it was the best fashions of
Yeah.
women of 2014 or whatever.
Yeah. So it was like, it's just fun because I mean he's got like you can see he's got a lot of gear too. It's not like just some random person. Like he's got like all this gear. He's in like a photographer stance. Like he's down. He's like getting his angle. He's working. He's got like giant lenses on his cameras. He's got like 2 D4Ss I think or
Right,
something ridiculous
right.
like that. So it's like
Maybe he's a candid street fashion photographer.
Exactly. It's funny. It's like it's kind of meta, right? Because it's like it's a dream within a dream within a dream. It's a photo within a photo. So I posted it because I was kind of like, I just thought it was fun, and I tried to frame it in a way where like he's kind of hidden, but you can still see his face. Like I wanted to have
Right.
him kind of just be enough of this kind of what,
Well, it feels like something's going on.
right? Like there's an event, like
Yeah,
maybe it's
you're
like
like at a
Fashion Week
thing.
in Greenville.
Yeah.
Greenville Fashion Week,
Yeah.
but it's not because that
It's
doesn't
not just a
happen.
normal
That's not a
thing.
real
This
thing.
is somebody from the news taking pictures of you.
Yeah.
He's the one who did that short film
Yes.
thing about you, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, he did the second one.
Oh, okay.
James did the best one though.
Oh,
There's been 3. Yeah.
links. Links. Okay. So, and that one did well. I'm so happy with how many people actually saw
Good.
that.
It was awesome.
Yeah,
I
it was
plug it in all my stuff.
Oh, thanks.
It's like my first thing. It's like, you want to know about me? Here,
Yeah.
just watch this.
Here you go. This is me.
Because it's way different. Like
In
you don't get to
essence.
like see a person.
Yeah.
You know, what I mean, like a photograph and words just don't really capture that much. No offense to all of us who do still photography. I mean, I
Quick
do.
photography.
I don't. You know, I do still photography, but there's only so much you
no,
can
it's
capture.
a different expression.
Yeah, it just is. It's completely
It's just
different.
it brings out different elements.
And
that
there's
a photo
less. I
can't.
think you can't. There's only so much you can have in a photograph.
Yeah.
Like-
But see, the difference with photography is you can create a time, like you can capture a moment and make it
Yes.
timeless. With video, you're illustrating motion. You're telling a story with motion, and it's a narrative.
Yes.
More so. Okay, so I thought this was a really interesting way to. This is also Will's photo. I thought it was a really interesting way to frame the details. Here, I think it's interesting that her skirt was the same color as the bag here.
Yeah.
Is that like wood? It's
It
like
was really
wood.
weird. So it was during IndieCraft, and
Yeah.
somebody I sometimes shoot, I run into fairly often, was leaving IndieCraft, and I was like, "Hey, I like what you're wearing." She was like, "Show me what she bought," and
Ah.
that's actually the box. She bought a belt, and that was
Oh.
the box her belt came in. But it kind
Nice.
of looks like a bag.
Yeah.
But like, I was just kind of like, "Oh, and I like your rings," so I was like, "Well, maybe I can form some sort of detail shot out of that," because I mean, there's only, with that few of rings on, it's, doing like the double hand like I had earlier, it's just, I don't think it has a very good effect. Like it doesn't feel that intentional. Like there's elements, but it's not super focused. I feel like the other one worked because the person had on so much
Right.
jewelry. Like
Right.
it was everywhere.
Yeah.
Whereas here it's a little bit more subtle, and it might just get kind of lost compositionally if you just
Right.
kind of have
Right.
hands.
Right.
So we just kind of used the box. I don't know. This is one of those shots I didn't really think about a lot when I took. Mm-hmm. It was just kind of, this seemed like the way to frame it.
I like it because it's a very like elegant the way that it's done, but at the same time, it's not too much. It's not overkill. It's not. It doesn't feel like this overly posed fashion magazine kind of thing. Like it feels subtle enough that it works together.
I think a big thing is, for both of us, is we try to avoid. I mean, obviously, like sometimes we give people a little direction when
Yeah.
we photograph them, but you
Oh, you
want
direct
to.
them?
I give them a little direction.
I
sometimes.
just
I
pull
might
out my
like tell them
camera
a
and
direction.
They just do it.
Do it. Yeah.
I don't have to.
I know
actually,
I think that's what some people.
I don't
think.
actually interact with people.
They think
I don't like people.
I have to interact a lot.
Oh, okay. Well, that's what separates the boys from the men.
Yeah,
Will.
that's right. I'm just a boy. But yeah, so I think a lot of times it's just looking for natural expressions, whether it's a detail or a portrait or anything, is looking for something they do while you're shooting them that catches your eye. Mm-hmm. Because it's always going to look more natural, because it's just something they do. Like it just,
Right.
it's a natural reaction for them. Now, getting them to redo it once they're conscious of it is another thing.
That's a whole another world.
But
yeah.
sometimes if you just kind of see them doing it, you could just get the photo.
Well, it's like
before.
our brains don't really know how, generally speaking, to like recreate a face
Right,
without
or like
putting emotion.
it's
into
like
it.
the model. I mean, that's why like professional models are much different to work with
That's
than an
why they
average
get paid.
person. Yeah, it's because like they know how to turn on certain looks and to do certain looks, and whereas for an average person, like even if you show them a photo of what they were doing, like a lot of times you just can't get it back. Like
Yeah.
it's just gone, and it's so frustrating because maybe you misfocus, but a lot of times those moments just disappear.
Yeah,
Like
Yeah.
you just can't get it out of the person again.
it's hard. It's definitely hard.
I mean, you can work on it, but sometimes you just can't quite recreate the magic. The magic
Interesting.
touch.
Interesting, this art of photography we have. Next! Okay, I just want to talk about this one really quick. I thought that this was a great illustration of how a lot of times with detail shots, I meant for this to go earlier, but we'll just tag on it real quick. And then we'll end this, baby. And then we'll go get sushi, Will. All right. I don't have money. So I thought this was an interesting illustration of how you can actually just use light. Like, a lot of times the light will do the heavy lifting for you, because this is just kind of a normal shot,
Yeah.
but I don't know, I always like the shot for some reason. I like how the scarf is there's this sense of contrast and emphasis on the scarf just by the light. You didn't have to necessarily frame it a certain way. I mean, you were intentional about your framing.
But I mean, there's
But you
nothing.
didn't-
I mean, it's about as simple of a frame as you can get. Like,
Yeah, it was
the
pretty
background's just blown out, Bocalicious. Like, there's no framing. It's not an intentional frame. I
Yeah.
mean, this is like a very easy street style. Like, from a compositional standpoint, I would never tell anyone like, "Hey, this is an awesome composition."
Mm-hmm.
You're completely right. It's just about the light, and it's just about the contrast of details, like the color of the scarf,
Very
the texture
stark.
of the scarf against like these just very, very
That's it.
strong.
You realize what just happened? I said Stark and you said Scarf, so you tried to say Starf. Anyway,
Brain game.
very good.
But
Hey,
yeah,
that was.
so-
I feel good about that.
Yeah.
So hopefully we brought you guys some value. Hopefully we said something. I mean, I felt like I was being the Gordon Ramsay of compositions. You know who Gordon Ramsay is?
Yes.
Okay. He talks about food in a very, elegant way, because he's a chef. That's what he does. And I feel like I was the Gordon Ramsay.
I feel like you were.
I was the Gordon Ramsay.
I feel like I was the Peter Griffin.
The Peter So you just like mumble and...
Yeah.
Dun, dun.
Yeah, you know.
Okay. Okay. Not at all. Not at all. Okay. So, guys, thank you for watching. That's it for today.
Please subscribe.
Please
watch our
subscribe,
videos.
like, and all the stuff that we're supposed to tell you to do. If we can bring you value in any way, let us know. Let us scratch your itch. That is my goal here. I want to help scratch your itch, post-processing, learn things regarding... If you were watching this video and you're like, I wonder what they think about that. We're here. We exist, Will.
We are here.
I'm
exist.
here.
You can send us a message,
I have a
and
phone.
we will do it. We will do it as long as this is
Yes.
not a terrible idea.
Yes.
Even then, we might try to do it.
I will fax you from my phone if you send me a reply. And we could talk, and I'll say,
Yeah.
you know what? I'm going to put that in another video, dang it.
Whatever
then-
you guys want.
It all comes together and life happens. So that's it. We love you guys. Have a lovely day. Go change the world. Don't forget to
Make
get your
beautiful-
education.
Oh, yeah.
And
Whatever James
brush
says.
your fundamentals. Brush your teeth.
Don't forget, brushing your teeth and practicing the fundamentals are the same thing. You have to do it every day, and you gotta floss.
Yes. And if not, you will get gum disease and die.
That's right. All right. All right.
Okay. Do you think they felt waved at? Do you think they felt
No, I
felt like
didn't feel it at
a
all.
lovely,
I stopped it.
a gentle
I
farewell?
stopped it. Who is
We
this?
ruined the whole video. I had to start over, Will.
I know. Jeez, I'm sorry. James.